I'm Shilpa K. I graduated the Schulich Business School program in 2012. I started the India program in 2011. And right now I'm working with YouTube as a partner development manager. So at the point when I was looking for an MBA program, I needed to look at something that could keep me closer to my husband, who was going to be in India, and also have something in Canada because I was looking at segueing into the market and I thought education would be the best way to do it. And Schulich happened to be the only program that was offering a part India and part Canada program, and that's how Schulich happened to be the first choice for me. The biggest advantage, besides letting me stay closer to family for a year longer, was the relationships that got developed over the course of time. I think when we went to Canada, we noticed that, it was very hand-offish. You have to work very hard to developing relationships, not just with your peers, but also with your professors and with the CDC, etc. All that literally came on a platter when we were in India. So that sort of was the highlight for me, because at the end of the day, an MBA is not purely for the education, but more for the network. And I landed up getting that network with being in the India program in the beginning. Well, it was phenomenal, considering that when we had guest speakers, we had the opportunity to be the hosts for those speakers, whether it came to just sort of entertaining them just before they were coming in or going to drop off. That one-on-one time really, really helped. For example, when Lulu Raghavan from Landor came in as a speaker, I managed to strike an internship with her for that whatever 45 days at that point of time the program was allowing us in the interim in between the Canada program. And when Mr. Sanjeev Bhasin, who was the CEO of DBS Bank, came in, his thoughts were absolutely inspirational, and the little connection that we managed to develop during that session also actually helped me lead to an offer letter from him when I had to come back to India for whatever personal reasons I did. So, couldn't say anything better. I think India, everything that we did was essentially fun. Staying back after school and going to the hostel with everybody and just hanging out over there for whatever group meetings, or just, bumming off on someone's bed at night because we couldn't go home in the evening after having a working session till 3 o'clock. A lot of fun things that we did were the extracurricular sports activities that we ran. I think we had a soccer match or something, and then we also had case competitions over here, which sort of sparked the interest for me to take it to Canada and participate in a bunch of case competitions there. Within Canada, I think I sort of focused a lot on the case competitions. I tried a little bit with the marketing club in order to sort of help organize events, etc. But I think cases is where I landed up finding. The highlight of the program for me, I think, having studied only in the Indian programs for the longest time, it was extremely spoon-fed. There wasn't much thinking or critical thinking that was encouraged or even entertained. Asking questions had sort of never been the ethos of how I had grown up being educated. What was different with Schulich specifically was that the professors actually came from there. So there was no inherent bias of how they studied or how they wanted things. They appreciated every perspective that we brought in. Every question was answered, or at least they would actually go back and research if they did not have an immediate answer. Another great thing I think that happened, which sort of ties back to the earlier part, was the fact that we got a lot more face time with our professors. That really, really helped develop a comfort level when we actually moved to Canada, because we knew these professors who sort of became our quasi-mentors without being called the mentors. That just increased the comfort level with being with the program. Wow, that's been a long time. Yes, I have managed to stay in touch with a lot of these professors. I think a lot of it was to do with the fact that they came to India and they taught us over here, where we also managed to meet them socially other than the official program. Theo's one of them. I've been in touch with Theo. David, in fact, was in town. I was to meet him. It didn't happen. But then the connections don't really go away. It's been fantastic. I don't know whether it happens in every MBA program, but I have been able to stay in touch with most of them. So I think the transition for us was extremely smooth, and maybe I can also speak on behalf of the entire India cohort, because we had this support system that we went with, where two or three of us landed up picking up a housing where we were staying together. So naturally, that those friendships really helped us get comfortable in the environment straight up. It was a slight struggle when it came to interacting with the rest of the peers, because I think that the diversity that Schulich throws 1 year is a little short in order to try to do justice, but then at no point did it feel that you couldn't enter or be a part of those opportunities if you were willing to get out of your comfort zone. So, well, specifically for me, I think the courses that sort of made the most difference are the ones that were around strategy, where you're actually thinking of things like barriers to entry, how do you make sure you have the market leadership, etc. Branding, because I'm working with partners on an everyday basis. So everything that I learned in brand management sort of comes into play over here when I'm guiding these folks as to how they need to make sure what their values are, what they should be communicating, because at the end of the day, the fans really want to be engaged to you for something that you're offering. I wish I was doing more with finance, but hopefully that will happen in the near future. I think I was really, really lucky to have a great group. And it probably was the cornerstone of success for my MBA program. I couldn't have been asking for anything more to do besides that strategy field study that we did in 601, and also the GLP program that I got an opportunity for. So I think it was the whole thing of, working in an intense environment on a time-bound exercise with the real company, with peers you didn't really know before. I think it just brought in that, it really just inculcated what it could be in the real life when you say you move away from India and go and settle in Canada, which is such a diverse culture. It's not the people who you met from the same backgrounds. It sort of sets you in and makes you ready for the market right now. And so diversity sort of played a role every single day in everything that we did at Schulich. There were peers who had been in Canada forever. There were peers who had migrated to Canada from different places. There were folks who were just coming from different exotic locations like South America and stuff. So when you're sitting and discussing in the various team meetings in order to conclude projects, etc., everyone brought in a different perspective of what they saw in their country, how things were done over there, how this should be done or should not be done. It was literally like, let's cut the riffraff and do the right stuff, because these are the learnings that come from my background and from the work that I have done. It was pretty fantastic. It also led to a lot of relationships and friendships that sort of will go a long way in the future too. I think the most memorable part of the India program, if I have to just put down in the order of 1, 2, 3, would be, one is the friendships that develop, because they will eventually be networks and like-minded people that it's hard to find after a certain age, I think. By age, I don't mean 30, 40, 50, but like after 25, you've grown up with people in school who have sort of taken a divergent route. So MBA sort of helped get a lot of like-minded people with similar backgrounds together. The other one would be the interaction and the closeness to the faculty, which was not easy to cultivate when especially we were in Schulich. So I think in Canada, because I think the relationships that I developed with the faculty back in India were not the same way when I developed relationships with my professors in Canada. So it was very different. And the third one, I don't know whether everybody agrees or not, was just the support system that it landed up generating in terms of career development, help, because everyone had seen you so closely and watched you like a hawk with what you're doing. They knew what you could excel in, what you couldn't, and then support came in the right direction at the right time. Absolutely. I think Schulich gave me a ton of opportunity to interact with students from not just different schools, but just different fields and different countries, everything put together. For example, I mentioned about the case competition where I was interacting not just with my peers. We also traveled to San Francisco for the HULT case competition, where we went to the semi-final stage. We interacted with students from all over US, all over Canada during that time. It was pretty incredible actually being there and listening to the cases that actually did go through. Traveling to Israel with my GLP was quite a life-changing experience, I must say. It sort of brought in the hidden passion I must have had somewhere for strategy and consulting, where problem solving became something that I wanted to really focus on. And just dealing with people from different cultures and different backgrounds really came through that time, because we were working with this particular team with a time difference. And the only time we really met them was when we were going to be presenting that case for this actual company who was really struggling at that point of time. So I don't think I could have gotten any of these experiences had it not been for Schulich. So I've had probably the best experience in terms of having an MBA program. I wouldn't have chosen anything otherwise. For someone who would probably maybe wonder how you can settle in, or what can you be doing in Toronto or in Canada overall, I'd say, there is a ton to be done without needing to spend money. As long as you have a group of people, you can be having a lot of fun. They have a ton of festivals, which I was very surprised to, and I think we participate in everything. They have the Busk Fairs, the Nuit Blanche. You have ice rinks set up for you to just come and skate and learn on your own if you want to during the winters, which I hear can get depressing, but I think the time when we were there, it was fantastic. I think it was a blast every single day. No one wanted to work very seriously, and there were a ton of extracurricular activities to do during that time. No, I think it's as home as you want it to be. There is a lot of cultural activities to do. The museums are great. The art gallery is great. You can be doing a lot of things on the weekends and making sure you de-stress a little bit and not always sit and work. Yeah, it's a beautiful city, and you're probably it's a once in a lifetime experience. Okay, for somebody who's considering the India program, I think, what I would probably want them to think about is, what are they really getting into the MBA program for? Because if they're there for the learning, they'll have a phenomenal time. If they're there for the peer network, they will meet very good peers. But if they're there straight up to say, I want to be changing my field, or I come in with X amount of salary, do I go out on Y amount of salary? Maybe you're not thinking about the right things over there. There are a bunch of programs who may be able to guarantee that. Here, I think what Schulich has taught me is, everything is on yourself. If you're willing to do the work and make the effort, you will get what you want. It's not going to come on a platter. It's not going to be spoon-fed. It's not going to be that Google's going to come to the campus and say, I'm offering a job worth 30, 40, 50 lakhs. It's not. You will have to make the effort, and you'll have to trust your peer network. You'll have to trust your education and the learnings and the support system to be able to see you through that. So it's going to be more hard work. There's no denying that, but it's going to be well worth it at the end of the day, because honestly, no one's going to come with a great job on a silver platter anywhere you go after your first job. And your first job on a silver platter may not be the final one that you really wanted. So take your time, think what are the options, and be ready for the hard work, and you'll not regret it.